Hey guys, my name is Danny and I'm your life and relationship coach. And I wanted to speak about something that I get asked a lot in my one-on-one coaching sessions. And that is, should I seek counseling after infidelity, right? How do we move past an affair? Or how do we move forward after an affair? And this, unfortunately, is a very common question. The term infidelity is forever changing at this point, right? So it depends on the individual, it depends on your belief systems. Whereas before, cheating basically just meant that you were physically intimate with somebody else. And nowadays, that definition is, again, like I said, forever expanding. So that can mean an emotional affair, that can mean a physical affair, that can mean that you are, with technology nowadays, you have a dating app while you're dating somebody else. You are liking somebody else's social media posts and your partner is not necessarily liking that. You're maybe having a little bit too much fun with a coworker. There's just so many different definitions of infidelity, and it depends based on what your belief system is, what your partner's belief system is, and just, again, what you would categorize as infidelity. So I wanted to be able to provide you guys with some tips, some fundamental steps that you can take in order to start to move past infidelity, to get past the affair, move forward from it. And I tried to keep it as broad and generalized as possible because at the end of the day, like I've mentioned before, every person's situation and circumstance is different. So if for you feel like yours is very particular, then my suggestion to you would be to book a one-on-one coaching session, because that's where we really kind of analyze the situation and we are able to tailor a plan specifically to you. But just to offer some assistance at this point, I wanted to give you guys a few steps or tips and tools that you can utilize starting today. The first one is allow yourself to process the emotion, right? It is so important to sit in those feelings and understand how it's affecting you, and give yourself that space, right? Because if you don't allow yourself to process, if you don't allow yourself to grieve, you will end up compartmentalizing and you'll tuck all of those feelings away. You'll try to just move forward and look past the infidelity. And what ends up happening is later on down the line, it comes up in some kind of argument. It gets thrown back in your partner's face. It gets thrown back into your face, and you're right back to square one. So it's better to just get through the process first, get through the emotions so that you are able to have more effective and efficient and productive communication with your partner in regards to how you're going to move forward. Because if you are at a heightened state of emotion all the time, you are not necessarily going to make rational decisions or say rational things. And that can actually be more damaging than good. Now, I understand and I know where people are going to go with this, and people are going to say, well, my partner deserves, what they get. They cheated on me. So if I yell at them, if I scream at them, if I make them feel bad, they deserve it because they made me feel bad. They hurt me. They damaged our relationship. And that is a very fair point. And you are right to feel that. But at the end of the day, if you are wanting to move forward past the infidelity, it is going to take some emotional self-control for you to be able to try to keep as much emotional neutrality as possible in order to move forward and past the act of the infidelity itself. The second one, which is what I just mentioned, is communication with your partner. If you are the person who was betrayed, you have every right to know the details of the situation, right? You have every right to know what happened, why it happened, who that person was. And that may be difficult for your partner to be able to deal with. But again, like I said, you deserve that information. If you are the individual who did who cheated, you're going to have to be okay with being completely transparent and answering those questions for your partner, because that is part of their healing process as well. The point of communication is to resolve issues, right? To get past them. And in order to get past these issues, you have to be able to process the emotions first, which is why I recommend in the very beginning to grieve and process the emotions so that when you do get to the communication stage, you're able to logically and rationally have a conversation with your partner, identify the issues, the needs that were missing that led to a feeling of lack of fulfillment in the relationship, and then start to move past that. The third one, and this is not an easy one, but it is so crucial, you either have to make the choice to stay or go. After you've had time to process the emotions, after you have been able to sit down with yourself and identify the core issues that happened that led to the infidelity, at that point, you have to make a conscious, rational, and logical decision whether it is a good idea to move forward in the relationship. Will you be emotionally satisfied? Will you feel fulfilled? Do you think you can ever trust your partner again? And if the answer to all of those things are no, even after you've had time to sit with yourself and self-reflect, then you should make the decision to go and not stay and not linger and drag the situation on longer than it needs to. But if you are willing to rebuild trust, if you feel like a lot of the fundamental aspects of the relationship are there, and this was a one-time mistake, then my recommendation to you is to continue to move forward, but allow yourself to be open and receptive to the process itself. The fourth one, and probably one of the most difficult ones, is forgiving your partner or forgiving yourself if you're the individual who committed the infidelity, right? It is an important part of the process. No matter what you do, no matter how well you work on communication, no matter how much work you put in, if you do not forgive your partner, if you are not capable of forgiving your partner, you will never move past this phase. And in order to rebuild a better, more communicative, intimate relationship, you have to be willing to forgive. And in order to be willing to forgive, again, you have to allow yourself to process the emotions and get through the nitty-gritty part of this process in order to feel capable of forgiving your partner for the mistake that they made. And again, for the person who committed the infidelity, you have to forgive yourself for the shame and the guilt that you feel. If you feel like you have put in the work at this point and you have communicated with your partner and you've been transparent and you've been consistent and you've taken accountability and you're empathetic to your partner, and this has been going on for months now, forgive yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to move past the infidelity. Now, you should never forget about the infidelity because it's something that should be a reminder to you that you never want to make that mistake again, but you have to be willing to also forgive yourself and move past it as well. The fifth one is setting boundaries. You guys should be setting boundaries with each other. And if you are the individual who was betrayed, then setting boundaries is going to be incredibly important. Boundaries are so healthy in a relationship, and they're absolutely necessary in order to preserve your sense of self-identity. So whether that means that you are not willing to be intimate with your partner at this point, that is completely understandable and realistic. If your partner needs to sleep in a different bedroom until you feel more comfortable trusting them in the room with you, that is completely realistic and understandable. But I want to be honest with you guys and clarify that there are differences between realistic expectations and unrealistic expectations. So if you are in this mindset of you want your partner to stop. Okay, so here I'll give you an example. So let's say that your partner works with the individual that they cheated on you with, and you want your partner to just quit their job, right? Just quit your job. I don't want you to be around that person anymore. I understand where that's coming from because you have to be able to rebuild trust with your partner, and you feel like you cannot trust them as long as they are working around the individual who they committed the act with. But right now, for example, with COVID, it's very difficult to find a job. And if both of you working contributes to the livelihood in the home, then having them quit right off the bat may not be the most logical or rational thing to do. Now, can they start looking for other work while they are currently working there? Absolutely 100%. That would be a realistic request or expectation. But to expect them to just quit like that, probably not the best thing. And the last and final one is rely on actions instead of words. So consistency is going to be very important here. That will be one of the primary requirements to rebuilding trust. So if your partner says they're going to be at home at 5:30, they should be home at 5:30. If they're going to pick up the kids every day on Wednesday and Thursday, they need to pick up the kids every day on Wednesday and Thursday. If they're going to support you in the house more and help clean up and do all those types of things, then the expectation is that they will do that. And if you are the individual who is expected to do that, you need to stick to your word and you need to show your partner that you are reliable and that you are able to support them. That will help to rebuild the trust, but it is going to take time. We offer trainings and products all the time, and we have a specific training in regards to infidelity. And I highly recommend that you guys take this course. You can find it on the Happily Committed website under the product tab. And what it does is it breaks it down into two specific parts. So the individual who committed the infidelity and the individual who was betrayed. And you guys both do the trainings, and then you come together at the end and work together. It is something that I highly recommend. It will really help you to start to process the act of infidelity and really moving past it. That, for me, my recommendation would be that is the first step. Now, if your situation is more complicated and it kind of needs a little bit more attention and support, as coaches, we would be more than happy to support you through that process. And we will work with you hand in hand to move past the infidelity itself. If you related to this video, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. I love having open dialogue with people. So if this is something that you related to, like I said, or maybe you think that I missed something, please make sure you leave your comments down below. I love to read them. Maybe you want a little bit more detail. You want to know a little bit more about this topic. You can visit us at happilycommitted.com, where we have a multitude of different subjects and articles and blogs specific to this situation and other situations as well. If you want to book a one-on-one coaching session with myself or one of the other amazing coaches on the team, you can book directly through the website. Again, my name is Danny. I'm your life and relationship coach. I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you guys soon.